recorded. Let's review this. So let's review this video from Melanie Hamlet, because it again shows exactly what I'm talking about. Not only does it prove me correct, it proves the men correct. Excuse me, it proves the men, again, are only lying and are only capable of lying to you anytime they are talking about anything that you are supposed to do as a woman. And it benefits them even a little. Understand it is a fucking lie, because they are not part of the human race, which means nothing about humans should benefit them. Nothing about humans should benefit males, because they are not part of the human race. That would be like bees benefiting from humans. It would be like that. They are not supposed to have any benefits. So if they're telling you something, if they're telling you to do something and it benefits them a little, it's a fucking lie. It is a lie. You are not their second gender. They are not your second gender. You are a human. They are a parasite species. The two are not the same. You are not two genders. You are two species. You are not two genders. We are two species. We are not two genders. We are two species. These, let me show you. These are not two genders. They are two species. These are not two genders. There is two species, human and a parasite. Human, parasite. Human, parasite. Parasite, human. Human, parasite. Not human. Not human. Parasite in disguise. Every single one of them. I don't care how young your child is. That is a parasite. That is a parasite. This teenager is a warning to parents. The boys are getting radicalized. Okay, let's go back.
I don't think parents understand how much their sons are getting radicalized. This 17-year-old just unalived her. They
Pause right there. Pause right there. She, again, is another great creator whom I love to death. Okay, she makes great content. She's getting it wrong again, because the root cause of it, she is getting wrong. And the reason there can be no quarter is because the signs, because the nature of this has already been written, that you can recognize your predator by that which kills you. You can recognize when something isn't correct by it causing you harm. That is already written. And people need to wake up and remember that the only reason you know something is wrong with your eye is because it hurts. The only reason you know something is wrong with your stomach is because it hurts. The only reason you know something is wrong with your leg is because it hurts. The only reason you know something that you have cross-eyed is because you know that the norm is not cross-eyed. These have already been written. This is why this publication, this is why my channel is called Believe Your Lying Eyes, because the males want you to believe that your eyes are lying to you. They want you to believe that which has been written in nature and is universal to every organism, and therefore cannot be cannot be not true or wrong. They want you to believe that that which is already written into nature are wrong. That when something hurts you, that is when something is wrong. And what is wrong is that this is not one of you. This is a creature. That is why it hurts you. Because it, as long as the males are amongst us, we are not in a human society. We are in the raw field of wide west nature. There is a predator in your species. Therefore, it can no longer be a safe haven. The reason that you know how to recognize your own species, the reason why he had to wear that disguise is because they know in their true form, your disease, your defenses will be up because, again, a universal thing, when you see other species, even the cats that you like to house cat so much, right? Your defenses, you have a certain level of defenses that are up because they are not your kind. And it is only because your kind, and on the flip side, your kind, you have zero defenses against them because they are supposed to not hurt you. There's supposed to be zero incidences of your own species hurting you. Zero. That is why you have no defenses against your own species, and why they are exploiting that by taking on this form, this face, this hairless form. This is why when you look at males and you see a lot of hair, it disgusts you because that is not your look. That's when they take on this feature that is slightly outside of your human feature. That is when they disgust you. That's when hair on the back makes you sick to your stomach. That is when their penis makes you sick to your stomach because it is not part of you. Because it is not part of your phenotype. Because the reason they got this disguise was because they know you would have zero defenses against your own species. Why? Why would you have zero defenses against your own species? Because there was inherently supposed to be already zero instances of anything that would harm you in your own species. This is why you would not need defense against your own species. And that is why they were able to exploit it to look like this and continue to kill us. And now, as you can see, as women are getting to more and more understand that that is not, in fact, what is happening. What are they doing? They're distancing themselves from men, exactly like you would in their real form. Their real form, which would be like a virus, their real form would be a virus. So when you hear someone has HIV, what do? Go the other way. You go the other way. That is you protecting yourself, not even taking the chance to be near them, just in case, in order to protect yourself against that very organism that is inside of them. That is your self-defense, which they have robbed us of by looking like us. This is not your species. This is not your species. And she continues to get it wrong. And the reason it is critical, the reason it is horrible that she keeps getting it wrong, is because these are already pre-made laws, pre-made instincts that you have been made to forget, and which you can just remember. You can just tap into these things already. The reason women are living men is because you're tapping into that very instinct. Something that hurts you should not be around you at all. 100%, 0% of the time. That is why divorces are happening. She keeps getting it wrong. And I need y'all to stop doing that. The root cause of all of it is not because somebody taught him to be like this, because he already is like this. He was born like this. Your predator is born to be your predator. Your being predator is not something that comes from social behavior. Being a predator is something that comes from biology. Your biology has to design into you what you would need to be a successful predator. Otherwise, what is the point of you being alive? Because you will starve to death. That is why they are already like this. And you are confused because they don't prey on us for food. But actually, that's not true. That is after, again, years and years and years of civilizations, of learning actual humanity from the raw form of male that they are, which is just purely demonic. If you look closer into Afghanistan, I promise you, they are eating people. They are eating females. But when I say they're eating people, what I mean is that they're eating people, men, women. And the reason they're also eating men, even though they are is because the men, unfortunately for them too, even though they are predators, they still have our phenotype to a degree. To the most degree, they still have our phenotype. And the phenotype that is female, which is the human bipedalism, unfurled, clear skin, unfurled, right? They have that. That's why they get eaten too. So males, they can be both. The males, they see themselves as, they see other males, not themselves, other males. As what? At just the right time, they see other males as human, right? They see other males as human. When it's time to consume their prey, they see other males as human. That makes you prey. At just the wrong time and at just the right time, right? They see you as not prey. Because they have dualism in them. And the dualism, right, is not because that it's a natural thing. It is because it is an unnatural thing. Because you are not supposed to have dualism. Because you are not supposed to have dualism. He keeps getting it wrong. And it frustrates the heck out of me. Why?
I really don't think parents understand how much their sons are getting radicalized.
Yeah, he's not been radicalized. How can he be radicalized when he's doing exactly what males have done since the beginning of history that we know? How can he have mental illness if he's doing the same exact thing every male has done since the beginning of time? How can it be that he is sick, is mentally ill, if he's doing what Afghanistan men are doing? Afghanistan is their entire society sick in the head because this is what they're doing on a daily basis. Is their entire society sick in the head? They cannot be sick if this is their norm. They cannot be sick if this is their norm. This is their feature, not a sickness. This is how they are designed to work. They are, in fact, inherently bad. This is why you have a 6-year-old child knowing how to kill something. Who the heck, tell me, who the heck is showing a 6-year-old male how to kill something? Do you know how many instances of that have been reported? Do you know how many instances of that have been reported? The 6-year-old male killing a cat, killing a fish in such a grotesque way. They are already predators at that age because they were always predators. It was nascent. It was nascent. It's like a timed release, and sometimes in a few of them, in a small percentage, not small but significant percentage of them, though not the majority, right? It's not on a timed release. It's released immediately. except for the fact that the human part of them is holding them back. Is holding them back. And those are the people, those are the ones, when they get older, they become the serialists. Cannot be radicalized if he is already born this way. Because women are hearing the same message that he hears, and we're never radicalized, which means that something is wrong with him insofar as he is not in the right species.
This 17-year-old just unalived her. They went to prom together. This was just this last year. 17-year-old. Why? Because they broke up. She was in school. He was going to go into the military. She was in school to be a teacher. She was apparently a super talented ballerina, and they broke up, and she went to his parents' house, who he lived with, to get her stuff back. And he pew-pewed her. I hate having to use this dumb language. And then he tried to do a, family annihilator thing, like, as children. He took her out, then he turned it on and did it into his face. And she went to his parents' house, who he lived with, to get her stuff back. And he pew-pewed her. I hate having to use this dumb language. And then he tried to do a, family annihilator thing, like, as children. He took her out, then he turned it on and did it into his face, and he survived. So he did this, and his parents.
Who is teaching them how to do this shit?
Parents' house with them there. 17. She's 18. If you have a son, he is getting radical.
I wanted to make a few points in this video, and I don't want to forget. I need you to understand that they look like the all-American couple right now. Beautiful. If you'd seen this in any other forum, you would have thought, oh, great couple. He's a good boy. I'm sure his mother said, oh, I have a great son. My good boys. I'm so proud of them. No, and when his mother, no doubt, hear somebody like me, right? She will probably come up with things like, oh, no, I know my sons are good. I've been telling each and every one of them, no, your son is not good. Your son has on a mask that makes him pretend that he's good. And that mask is on two ways, okay? That mask is in two ways. One, he has been socialized to do that stuff. Socialize how to behave. And that gives him the ability to wear the mask even better. Second, because women have also been socialized to willingly give them that which the predator wants. They don't necessarily have to behave like the predator anymore. So the fact that they continue to still do it, because he could have easily gone and found another girl. He could have easily gone and found another girl. Look at this kid. He's gorgeous. Look at him. I'm sure he has girls lining up to the wazoo. He could have easily gone and found another one because there are so many girls waiting to just give it to him. So he didn't have to do this, but the mere fact that even with everything handed to them,
okay, whether you know it or not,
it still keeps coming out. It still keeps coming out. It means that is proof of how deeply they are designed like this. And I need you to look at the opposite. On the flip side, where women, despite all of this behavior, all of these things that men are saying is normal, etc., men are still killing at a 900 times rate than women are. If it was so fucking normal, it would be closer to 50-50. Do you understand how deeply divided that is? How much of a Grand Canyon that difference is? 900 times. And that is even an undercount. I have reviewed that data many times. It is an undercount of male behavior. How come, if it is so damn normal, women are still barely doing it? How come women are still barely doing it to other women if this shit is normal? This is Proof. This is exactly proof of how strong nature actually is. That even with all the signals that men tell us this is normal, how many times they instigate women to do things to other normal, it is still us an infinitesimally small fraction compared to what males are doing. Them, any little thing, even when they have the entire world at their feet, they're still doing it. Billionaires are killing people. Billionaires who could pay people off. Billionaires who could buy anyone they want. They could buy 5 million women. They're killing women. If this is what other men have been doing, if this is what men have a history of doing, how then can you say this is mental illness as opposed to it is just the norm? And men will tell you this, that if this was the norm for them, if they are inherently evil, if they are inherently bad, they would be killing everyone. They would be killing everyone. Nobody would be here. That is like saying that if Satan was evil, was really evil, right? He would have killed everybody. That's basically what they're saying. That if lions are really predators, they will have preyed everybody. If viruses are really dangerous, everybody will be dead because they will have what? They will have what? Parasited everybody. Fraud companies were really fraudulent. They will have fraudulence everybody. Insanity that they're telling you. And of course, none of those things are true. But the reason that they keep coming up with these crazy things is because they want you to make an exception for that which is already natural law. They want you to give them an exception for natural laws that are universal. If you compare their behavior to how lions behave, to how cats behave to rats, etc., it will line up 100%. But they have convinced you to not look at it like that, to look at it as though they are just human. They're not your predators. And so that's why to you it doesn't make sense. And that's why to her it doesn't make sense. That's why she keeps saying that they're radicalized. They are not radicalized. This is this normal state. This is this normal state of being. I need you to research. Actually, let me do this research. One minute. One minute. By the way, I need you to understand this. Here's another proof of this. Boys want toy guns. Let me tell you something. The very first sign that your male creature child is exactly what I say. Is that he wants what? Toy gun at a young age when he barely knows what guns are. That's what he wants. Are you ladies waking up or what? I've never understood that. I had never even thought about that. I'm sure nobody has thought about that. But your sons want violent tools at a young age. What is it that you're missing here? The signs are all pointing to the same thing, but you want to keep pretending that the signs are not there. The signs are all pointing to the same things. At a young age, your sons want tools for violence, tools to kill somebody with. This is insane. My goodness, I just don't know how to get people to get this. I do not know. I do not get this. Okay, so share this. Roughly 97% of youngsters are busy with games, and 85% of them prefer playing violent games. This is insane. When did this come out? Okay, then it's coolest gadget video games. Okay. Something instigated me long ago to look up, to think about what is the number of downloads of violent games. Yeah. Look at that. 90% of violent games are approved for kids under 10 years old. Now, you will say, well, that is the society that is conditioning them. Okay, hold on a second. When you go to the grocery store and it's like Halloween or something, and you go and you go Halloween costume shopping with your son, and he's pointing to guns, is that part of the brainwash too? When he's 6 years old, and he's killing a cat like a reincarnated assassin. Is that also part of the brainwash too? Is that also part of the brainwash? Is that also part of the influence? Also part of the influence? Interesting. Okay, if that is so, how come? How come that doesn't apply to females? There you go. How come it universally applies to males, but it doesn't universally apply to females? How come? I mean, you are refusing the basic level of data here, which is your own observation, that is backed up by data. How come that doesn't apply? Do you think that the publishers of these video games, do you think that they care if it's a female that's watching it or if it's a male? Do you think that they care as soon as they get views? Do you think that they care? Why are your boys attracted to violent things but not your girls? You want to talk to me about nature. Why are your boys attracted to violent things but not your boys? Why, when you go grocery shopping and you are in the toys aisle, your girls are going instead for the pink Barbie dolls and not the guns and the pink shoes and the sparkly things and the lipstick bags, but not the guns? Why is that? What about your males attracts them to those things? When you present both genders the options and they all consistently choose the same things, what then? Is your son that mentally ill at that age, at that young age? Is he mentally ill at that age? Is it mental illness? Is it radicalizing if he is literally doing that thing which he has always been? Is that radicalization? He's doing the same thing he's always done. Is that radicalization, or is that just his normal state? 97% of youngsters are busy with games, and 85% of them prefer violent games. This is a lie. This is categorically false. And would only be true if 97%, if this here number are all males. If there are no males in here, or very little females in here. That's the only way this will be true. Because 85% of them is now saying that also applies to females. Have you seen females? Have you in your life experienced females overwhelmingly wanting violence? Have you experienced that? These people are lying to us. They're lying to us in order to paint a picture that violence is just normal, and therefore when it happens, well, that's just part of life and it's just going to continue because nobody can do anything about it. Because part of life means that you can't do anything about it. But that's not true. It is not part of life. It is a part of a disease. And the disease is always curable until you're dead. Until you are dead and buried. Minecraft had almost 200 million copies sold globally. The game industry has had almost 152 billion the past years worldwide. That's not even enough. Well, number-wise, yes. But that's not what I'm really looking for. That's not what I'm really looking for. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. 3.1 billion gamers worldwide. This was similar to the data that I got. When I thought about, what percent of males are actually really violent, because that would reflect in their behavior. Because you have to understand that their instincts, it's like this kind of behavior. It has a rainbow of outlets, right? Which murder is the last and ultimate one, which means that it will be the one that will be least engaged in, because it has the most cost. Yeah. So it's not going to, so what they're going to report, what you're actually going to see manifesting in front of you, it's not going to capture the true nature of them, because it's only a small fraction of what would happen. The true nature of them would be the entire gamut of the behavior that they're engaging in. And that would be violence. That is what instigated me to think about this number. This is similar to the number that I found. 3.1 billion gamers. Let's say that women are gamers. We know it's observable behavior that women don't game as much as men do. But let's just say that half of them. Let's just give them the benefit of doubt and just to say half of them. 1.5 billion males. Let's repeat that. In 2020, in just 1 year, 1.5 billion males. When they tell you the crime statistics and they tell you about who murdered who and all that stuff and I tell you, no, that shit it's underreported. It's underreported because of simply from the questions that I've asked of males, the questions that I've asked of females, the other data that I've put up, the other data that I have put up, all the reports of this one dead and that one dead, they do not amount to that statistics. No, they are far more than the statistics that they're telling us. Yeah. That's what instigated me to go looking for this number. Now they're telling you that a small fraction of them are what are killing, but on a daily basis, yeah, on a daily basis, on an annual basis, yes. If you're looking at, because they always report to us just the annual number. But when you look at the aggregate number, right? Because a person isn't alive for just 1 year and then you're gone. It's like, okay, that is the only time you could ever do crime and all that stuff. You are alive for multiple decades. To put the aggregate number of 40 years, what are we gonna get? It would definitely be a lot bigger picture than what they're telling us. But it was still pale in comparison to this. Again, because the entire gamut of violence, of behavior and violence, right? There are so many of them. There are so many of them. And the violence and murder is the ultimate one, which means what? It's going to have the most resistance. It's going to have the most resistance because it also has more cost. So it will be the least engaged in, which means it would actually be the least accurate number to use to gauge male violence. Now, I need you to understand why this number is significant, not just that it is large. When we look at data, let's say, cancer data, etc., we're using, a number in, 500. We research, we did data on 500 people. We used 1,200. We used 5,000. We used 10,000 people over 10 years, etc. This is a quarter of the fucking globe of males, of global males. A quarter of global males. And they are what? It means that we have far exceeded the normal sample data to prove whether it's all males or not. To generalize whether males are violent or not. We have far exceeded that. Which means that the only reason it can be this many of them, and this is still less. I found a number that is much bigger than this, and they're still assuming that the way they're wording it, they're still wording it as though it's two genders, when we know that it is not. My number is close to 5 billion, which would make sense because there will be multiple gamers. There will be gamers engaging in different games, in more than one game, and there will be more than one downloads. My number, and it wasn't comprehensive, which means I didn't look at all of them. My number, for having looked at just a few of them, like 3 or 4, was over already 5 billion. 5 billion. That was the number that I found. And half of that is 2.5 billion males. We have far exceeded the sample amount that we need to conclude definitively that males are violent. We look at 1,200 males. We can conclude that males are violent. Males are generally violent. We have here 1.505 billion. We have more than met the threshold to say all males are violent. All males are violent. So if all males are violent, if this is happening, if this here is happening, you tell me how this is him being radicalized. This is what he does on a daily basis. This is what this kid does on a daily basis. This is who he is. These are his people. If this is his norm, how then can you say that's him being radicalized when he's engaging in the same norm that he's always engaged in? Violence. how then can you say he has been radicalized? We need to start talking sense. We need to start looking, we need to start thinking about the logic of that which we are saying.
Is the like diet slightly or a lot? Please take this. You have a son. He is getting radicalized. Okay, whether you know it or not, he's getting radicalized. Slightly or a lot. Please take.
No, if you have a son, he's already he's already evil. If you have a son, he's already evil. Okay, he doesn't need to be radicalized because it already came with him. It already came with him from his father, from his daddy. Yeah, yeah. The evil in him is already from his daddy. It's already in him. The minute you made a son, you've already made evil.
Take this serious. That's why I hate Scott Galloway so much, because he is not Andrew Tate. And Andrew Tate is the like diet version of red pill. That guy's not even that red pilly compared to what's online. Scott Galloway and all these other guys are like the college.
Yes, he is, because they're all the same. The Y is from the same place. The Y is the same place. It has everything that it needs to be the same, to be the exact same predator. Just because what you're seeing is the whitewashed version to fit into a human society, when you let away all the rules, what you get is abject demonity on a daily basis. Look at Sudan. Look at Afghanistan. Look at Pakistan. When you let out the rules, what you get is abject demonity on a daily basis. This is exactly who every one of them is. Look at Sudan. I just read just yesterday, 10%. I'm actually going to have to talk about that. 10% of people wiped out. 10% of millions. There is zero level of catastrophe they cannot do. Andrew Tate is exactly the same demon. Stop playing with me here.
Level.
I have listened to that thing. You don't even understand that. Like, they have their own language because, again, they're not our species. But our species was able to give voice to their own parasitic ideology, which they would normally not even have access to. I have listened to Andrew Tate talk. That thing is pure evil. And because I have spoken to them and asked them questions and researched this again and again from many angles, from literally every angle possible, that is why I can hear what they say. I can hear the demon inside of them every time they open their fucking mouths. When they tell you, I want a traditional woman, they are telling you they want you to lie down on the bed and never move. They want you to have no life. That is what they're saying. You keep hearing the human side of what they're saying. But what they're actually saying is pure abject savagery, pure abject demonity that will leave you with absolutely no life. You still don't understand that to their core, they really think women should not even exist. They think we should all not exist. They think we should all die. They think we should all die. You still don't get that part. Think we should all die. And not because we've done anything, because they're not us, because they are a parasite species. And not even because they are a predator, they are our predator, because your predator, your real predator would not in fact chase you, would not in fact want you to be dead, simply because. The reason lions don't prey is because lions actually prey for food. They only prey for food. This is why when you see preys of lions, sometimes they don't even bother. Sometimes they don't even bother to run because you're like, you just saw a lion, right? And it doesn't seem like to be reaching their brains onto they see the lion running. Because lions don't always hunt. Lions don't just hunt to hunt. Lions don't just hunt to hunt. They hunt to live. These males just destroy because they are abject, the most Satanism of evil. This is not fucking being radicalized. This is his true nature coming to the surface.
Red pilling. It's the same message, and they're all getting it. All the men and boys are getting this message. Now, whether they believe it or not is up.
No, they already have this message inside of them. They already have this message inside of them. The reason they're getting this message is because all the males who have the same messages inside of them are telling them the same message that is already inside of them. They aren't getting a message they don't already have. The reason the message exists at all is because males have them in them and they are talking about the things that they have in them. Do you not get that? Do you not get that?
Up to, how much they've been, the media literacy they have, how much they've been educated, how much of that patriarchal entitlement they have. But let's just go over a few things. And if you have not watched Therese Lee's Red Pill series, I believe it's on Substack. She also has some stuff, other places. If you have a son.
Reliant is the home of free electricity, so your home can be the home of epic bedtime.
And actually, not just a son, because I actually think everyone should be learning about this, because your husband might be radicalized, your brother might be radicalized, your son, if you're an adult, he might be radicalized. If you let that dude move in with you, he can take your life. Like, everyone should understand what's going on, what to look for, the red flags, and when you need to know that you are in danger. So I'm gonna tag Therese. She's done incredible work on helping people understand what's happening, what to look for, right? And when I went back to the US, and I talked to some people who are not in, on TikTok and the places that I met, that are like, very progressive, very feminine, it's ridiculous, but so
Just look at the
it's
same
hard to
things.
know what this seems like. He's holding this, right? The reason I'm bringing all this stuff to his kids. So this is a QQ and it's in his hand. So it's hard to know what this seems like. He's holding this, right? The reason I bring this up is that right now, because of AI, there's so much stuff out there that it's hard to know. And he's got the ear things on. They are the light of her life, which, there's not. I'm not saying all this to blame.
Boom. Yes, but I wanted to get to. I need you to look at this. This looks again. It looks like the all-American family here. A mom who would talk about how, oh, my sons are great. The minute you conceive a son, you have born evil. Period upon black. The minute you birth a son, you have born evil. Period upon black. Period upon black. The reason these things keep happening is because they already come this way, because they are, in fact, inherently bad. They are, in fact, inherently bad. They are already born this way. The reason your mother-in-laws act crazy is because these males infected them literally from the inside, exactly like it does in its original form, exactly like it does in society. That the original form, that which his genes have mastered, is what is manifesting on in your body, is what is manifesting on a social level. Exactly like how your genes manifested how you can see, and then you see, right? Exactly the way your genes designed that, and then you can see on a social level, but you cannot see on a microscopic level. That is the same thing. Your genes made that up. Your genes did that so that you can have eyes. Your genes created that. Their genes created a way for them to prey on other people, on other organisms, not just people, organisms, other organisms. And so that is why they do it on a social level. And that is why they also do it to animals, because they are in fact an organism that preys on anything. Because it is a virus of origin. It is a virus, it is viral in origin. Therefore, it preys on anything. It preys on anything. That's why they're doing it to animals. This is why they only need a pipe to do it. This is why they need a sock to do it. They prey on anything. This is why they're destroying the planet. This is why they're destroying the air. This is why they're destroying the water, the food, and everything. These are the things that they would not need in their natural form. Therefore, they don't have any sense of how to respect it. Because they keep thinking, they keep not understanding. It is not wired into them that if you do not have water, something bad is going to happen. They do not have that wiring because, again, every single part of your behavior is intentional. If you do not need water to survive, as in their original form, you would not have the wiring to care if water exists or not. What would happen to you? We have that design because we need water to exist. They do not have that design because they do not in their original form, and their original form had to override what the part of them that makes them less of themselves. It had to override the part of them that they got from us, but that those things that they got from us, which override theirs, how much of themselves they can be, it had to override them because, again, genes like themselves the way they are. They only evolve to better how they are, right? So which means that his viral genes, they like that they are viral genes, which means that they don't want to be your human disgusting ass genes. They don't want your this human disgusting ass behavior. They like their own, which means that this form that they have was an aberration that happened. It was an aberration that happened. But once that aberration happened, they kept doing their parasitic thing to bring this dynamic about. So this all-American family, they would tell you, the men would tell you, oh, you need a man to raise a child. And that, all the criminals are raised by single women. That is actually what is making less criminals. Look at that. There's a father in the home. There's a happy family, a happy two-parent family. They're even close. They have fun. They live life together. And then this son goes and does this. So now tell me, if these males would do the same damn thing in any damn condition, whether it's bad, whether it's good, whether it's sad, whether it's crazy, whether it's this, whether it's short, whether they're tall, whether they're fat, whether they're rich, whether they're brown, they're black, they're white, they're Asian, they do all of that, whether they're from history, whether they're poor, whether they're rich, whether they're educated, whether they're broke, whether they're not. If they would do it in any condition, how can you say that it's because they were being instigated, that they were being radicalized? How then? Isn't that just normal behavior? Isn't that just normal? If there is not a single condition that would not cause them to not behave like this, isn't that just normal behavior? Isn't that just normal behavior? If you want to say that is human socializing that is causing them to do this, huh? But they're doing it in every condition. They're also saying that there is no human socialization that is good for them, which means that they cannot be possibly human, which again brings back to the very same thing. They cannot possibly be human because why would a human socialization not be good enough for you ever? Any of it, any iteration of it. Why? But it never seems to fail females. It never seems to fail females. Why would it be good for us, but it's not good for them? Why? No matter how bad it is good for us, and we don't tend to go off on a tangent like this. But you can never get it right. Is it not again back to the same thing? Back to the same thing, genes, because they have the Y chromosome. And if you want to ask me if my son is good, If my son is good, I have a good boy. No, does your boy have a Y chromosome? Yes, he does. Then he's evil. Yes, because that is what it takes to be evil. It's not whether he behaves like that, because it already is designed in him to behave like that. Are confused, but they are not confused. You are confused, but they are not confused. They have confused us, but they are not confused. They are not confused. Everything that they've told you has benefited them. They have not told us a single thing that doesn't benefit them. They have not told us a single thing that has not benefited them. There's another angle. They have not told us to do a single thing that hasn't been a benefit to them. I've tracked that too. I've tracked that as well. Every single thing that comes from them of what we are supposed to do, every single one of them is to their benefit, which instantly means it is not to our benefit, because there is only one human, which means if it's not benefiting humans, it's no good. If it's not benefiting us humans in our human society, it's no good. I mean, they even tell us that they made a society, that they have built society. But if we removed all the humans that women made, tell me, what is your infrastructure? Is a society? Is that it? Is that what you're saying? Your infrastructure is a society? Because that's what you're gonna have left. They're telling you that you need a man in the home. And if you don't have a man in the home, your kids are gonna come out fucked up. Excuse me. I get so passionate, I forget to not do that. They're saying, if you don't have a man in the home, your kids are going to be criminals. Your kids are going to be murderers. Your kids are going to be all kinds of things. Your kids are going to be shooting. Your kids are going to be this, and the kids are going to be that. And then there's a man in the home, and your kids still do that. Why? Because you have a male, and a male would do what it does in every condition. If it's cold, if it's hot, if it's sweltering, if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's icing. A male would do what a male is. So tell me, she keeps saying they're radicalized. If this is the normal thing that they do, how is it being radicalized? If he's doing the same thing Afghanistan men are doing, how are Afghanistan men, are they mentally ill? Are they socialized like that too? Are they? What about Sudanese men? What about them? Who teaches you to kill tens of millions of people? Where is that camp at? Where is that camp at? And how come women can't find it? How come women can't seem to find it? What is the difference between us women and us them that they can find it and we cannot? Again, it comes back to genes. The singular difference is that Y chromosome. Mm-hmm. How many times did she say, "Oh, I've got a good son"? That no, my son isn't bad. He's good. He's a gentleman. He's crazy. He's this and he's that. He's good. And you need to understand, he was trying to kill himself because, oh my goodness, it's shocking to even me how everything just points to the exact same thing. The reason they easily take themselves out is because of two things that all root from the same cause. Okay? It is because of two things. One, he doesn't value his human body. He's human corporeal because that is not his true self. He doesn't value his human corporeal because that is not his true self. And because that is not the true self, that human corporeal is actually like a death thing, trying to strangle him on a daily basis. He feels not welcome in his own body. He feels not at home in his body. All of them are like this. They feel not welcome in their own body because it isn't supposed to be theirs. Because the body isn't supposed to be theirs. It's supposed to be a female's body. The third reason, they don't value life because of what he is. He is an organism that is not alive. Therefore, life to him, he doesn't have the wirings to value that life. Because again, biology is intentional. If you're going to have something, any little thing that you're going to have, it's going to create a string, a process of wires, instincts, behaviors, etc., to support that thing that you're going to have. And because they do not have that thing, they would not have those ley lines. That is why they don't value life. That is why it's okay for humans to starve. That is why it's okay for humans to die every day. That is why all of these catastrophes are happening. That is why Trump can have an issue on his hands, COVID, and being told that this is going to kill millions of people, and he doesn't give a shit. And they don't care that it does. They do not value life of anyone.
The mother. Okay, I just also
barely even their own. Barely even their own. And they value human life even less. That is why he's willing to take himself out. Because he happens to be both. He happens to be both of those things. A life and a human life. When they tell you they're suicidal, it's not because of you. It's not because you're not giving them sex. Because they are demons wearing human faces.
Want to acknowledge in a nuanced conversation that boy moms sometimes are feeding into patriarchy by teaching their sons that they are the prize, the most important people in the world, and that, what that male entitlement gets passed on through both the mom and the dad. All right. So I don't know if she's a boy mom, and maybe they were just like the happiest, most loving family ever, and this kid has serious mental health issues. I don't even care at this point because health issues are not all, and this kid has serious, both the mom and the dad. All right. So I don't know if she's a boy mom, and maybe they were just like the happiest, most loving family ever, and this kid has serious mental health issues.
No. How the hell can you say that it is mental health issues when he is doing the same thing that other males have done? Other males who have proven to not have mental illness. Why is it he is doing the same behavior and you think that is mental illness? What is wrong with you women? What is wrong with you? Something is seriously wrong with you. You have caught the mental illness that they have, that you're saying that they have. No, actually, no. You're the one with mental illness. They are working exactly as they are designed. You are the one who are mentally ill. You are not designed this way. Your brain has literally gotten everything wrong on how it is supposed to run. You are the ones who are mentally ill. They are working as designed. That is a feature of their design. Being murderers is a feature of their design. They are working exactly as designed. They are not mentally ill. This is a feature, not an error. It's not mental illness for them. It is their feature. This is how they are designed. You are mentally ill. Any of you who think that this is normal, this is mental illness, or any of this, that these males are human, you are the ones who are mentally ill because your brain is not wired to work like this. It is the mental illness it is the brainwash that you have received that makes you think that this is normal.
I don't even care at this point. Because health issues are not all men under patriarchy are taught that they deserve a girlfriend.
No, actually, they're not taught that they deserve a girlfriend, okay? They naturally believe that they are owed a girlfriend. They naturally believe this. They do not have to be taught it. When they hear someone saying it, the only reason it resonates with them is because it's already inside of them, which means if they don't have to have heard it from somebody else to already believe it, because it's already part of them. It is already written into them because it is like food. The reason we call broccoli plants, the reason we call broccoli food is because we believe that broccoli is supposed to feed us. But broccoli is actually just a plant. Broccoli is just a plant, a living organism that simply wants to exist exactly like we want to exist. By itself, peacefully, not feeding us. That is what a broccoli plant, that is what all the plants are. They are all living organisms. Their purpose is not to exist just to feed us, just to feed other organisms. We simply purpose them that way. We simply repurpose them that way and call them food. These are plants. These are plants. They are not food. We simply coin them as that because that is what we need of them. So they already believe this. They already believe that we are their food to consume. They do not need to be told. The manosphere is not radicalizing them. The manosphere is not radicalizing. It is bringing them home. The manosphere is bringing them back home from the sojourn into supposedly humanity that they did. All this niceness that you see on the superficial, that is them attempting to be human. It is simply welcoming them back into their own nature, into their own home, their own actuality. That's what the manosphere is. The manosphere is not making them radicalize. The manosphere is normalizing them to what they normally are already.
That they deserve endless free labor from women. And unless someone...
This is why you hear about, ISIS and all that stuff. And most of them are males. Even though some females get radicalized. But that's because she was influenced by a male to do so, to be radicalized. Because there are a series of incidents that will have caused that female to be radicalized. Because it takes a lot more effort to radicalize a female, because that is not her nature. That is not her nature. But a male takes very little. That is his nature. That is his feature. It would be like how how do you do this? 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 What is an example? What is an example? What is an example? What is an example? It's like how, let's say you feed a child milk, right? Breast milk, and then and then you want to feed them butter, and then you want to feed them butter. Or on the flip side, you see how they're resistant to it. They're resistant to it because their taste buds was originally made for breast milk. But it's not because they had breast milk that is making them do that. No. It's because the taste buds was already made for breast milk. So when you actually have breast milk, it is like your entire body just feels right. And then when you get off of breast milk, when you try to get off of breast milk, right? It's like you tasting crap. And you will see that on the flip side, it usually doesn't happen the other way. That even when they start off on formula, they can still get on breast milk no problem. Even though there's instances where that doesn't happen, for the vast majority of the time, when you flip it the other way, they get on breast milk just fine. And but once they also get on breast milk, then they no longer want formula. Again, because the taste buds are already designed for breast milk. So breast milk is like It's like coming home. It's like a lock and key reaction. So that when you finally find your lock, you don't want to let go. This is why they're easily radicalized. Supposedly radicalized. You're just being brought home to their true nature. They're connecting with their real nature.
Teaches them the opposite. Even if in your home you are teaching them to be feminist, now I promise you, they are learning the opposite at school. And one of my mutual, Leslie Witherspoon, who's awesome, just great content, and she talks regularly about, you know, the society, movies, the teachers at school, the kids at school, everything in their life is going to keep pushing them into that male entitlement. And now, because of all the going on, into red pill, and you kids are health issues.
By the way, the same exact thing applies to us females. The reason most of us are feminism is because these are how our minds naturally already work. Even the conservative women who call themselves not feminism or not feminist, when you actually research for that, you realize that they are all, there is not a single one of them who is not a feminist. When you ask them, you know, what rights are you actually going to give up? They can't tell you which one. When they're confronted with instances where their rights are taken away in real time, they can't handle it because they are actually feminist in real life, in their true nature. And men will say, oh, this is brainwashed. Nobody brainwashed you. It resonates with you on the inside because that is how your mind already is.
Issues. I don't even care at this point. Because health issues are not, all men under patriarchy are taught that they deserve a girlfriend, that they deserve, don't enable them to rely on women's plate. And then also guessing that in this relationship or in this home, that there are some pretty strong patriarchal themes going on. Patriarchal indoctrination from the parents' own indoctrination. Again, it's not their fault that they believe this stuff and they were taught this stuff, but it is our responsibility to unlearn this stuff and not pass it on to future generations. I mean, just all of these photos are all about the gym. It's a family affair. They all go.
You can do everything that she does, and you may still not fix this problem. Why? Again, because that is not the root cause. The reason we have to understand the root cause, as much as we understand our own self, as much as we can recognize our own faces in the mirror, it's so that we can stop making mistakes like this, saying, you know, we have to do this and we have to do that. All of them are going to be wrong. You can do that as many years as you want, as many times as you want, as deeply as you want, as profoundly as you want. You're gonna get the same exact result that you're getting. And we are at a stage in human condition that things are actually only going to get worse. And let me help you understand what stage that is. It is because the males who have previously conditioned us to just to willingly walk into their mouths as their prey, as their prey, to willingly give ourselves to them. We are waking up from that and realizing we're not supposed to do that. So now the previous behavior where we were willingly walking into their mouths to give ourselves to them willingly, that has reduced their need to behave as the predator that they really are. And so that has reduced the instances of that. But now that we are waking up and realizing why are we willingly being praised? Right? Now they're going to start being their predator self. Now the need is arising again, which means it's going to skyrocket to magnitude so high, your head will probably spin to the opposite side. With how much it's going to happen, you will learn, whether by force or by fire, you are going to learn that these males are exactly what I say. And the reason I was able to coin it was because I never stopped asking the basic logic of questions. I queried them many instances about the crap shit that they're saying. And they believe that thing to the core of their souls. To the core of their souls. And there is not a goddamn thing you're going to tell them that isn't what is supposed to be true, or that isn't true for them. There's not a thing you're going to say. I query them an endless amount of times. This is what they are. And you're going to learn this by force or by fire. Because the instances of this incident is going to skyrocket. What they believe is that you are the plant. You are the food, and therefore eating you is not an option. Just like to us, eating broccoli being food is not an option. Broccoli being our food is not the broccoli's option. That is what they believe. Which means they're going to kidnap you from the streets. They are going to start kidnapping women from the streets. Yeah, they are going to go to church and kidnap a woman from the parking lot. You are going to have to stop going to 10 p.m. clubs. You go on a dinner date, they will kidnap you. Oh, you took your child to school, they will kidnap your child. This is what all of them are. All of them. I don't care how cute, I don't care how handsome, I don't care how good, I don't care how friends, I don't care how great of a dad, I don't care how great of a brother, I don't care how caring. This is what they all are.
Go to the gym together. Football. I mean, it's just gym, strength. Parents. How do you deal with a son who did that to somebody? And now is going to go to prison and almost died. I mean, he got shot in the face. I don't even know if he's going to survive. But if he does, he will go.
You kill it. Hopefully you kill it. If this mom had her heads on straight, she would kill it. That is a thing.
Well, maybe it won't. Maybe it won't because this country, sorry, I'm not crap. There's just all these photos of vacation with her. And, her Instagram is still up. And just seeing like this. So by the way, if you're new here, I'm a DV survivor. I'm so glad I didn't date till like my 30s. Honestly, I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying, oh my God, I think if I've been dating in my 20s and like whatever, mid 30s before I was like unalive them who come from healthy family. I know a lot of women who had amazing dads and ended up with men like this. Look at these photos from her. Like apparently they went to Italy.
Thank you. She said what? You said what?
Who come from healthy family. I know a lot of women who had amazing dads and ended up with men.
Thank you. Because why? It has nothing to do with the family home. This is what they are inherently. They are inherently bad. Yes, when you say, I'm not saying men are inherently bad. No, they actually are inherently bad. The reason they will do this in any circumstance, under any circumstance, is because they are inherently bad. It doesn't matter how good your family life is. It doesn't matter how well you train them. It doesn't matter this. It doesn't matter that. It doesn't matter how much money that they have. I mean, they have billions of dollars, and they're still assaulting women. They can buy as much women as they want. They are still assaulting women. What else? What more evidence do you know? Do you need? What more evidence do you need? There is a long, endless line of evidence, and you refuse to take it.
Men like this. Look at these photos from her. Like apparently they went to Italy. February. Like this girl is a teenager and she died because this guy got broken up with. Like even if. Sorry, I'm so upset by this story. I've been following all weekend, and I had to stop looking for more information because I kind of don't want to know. I have to really limit how many stories like this I tell, not just for my mental health. Do I need to limit these stories? How many I cover? But also for y'all, right? I don't want this page just to be like, oh my God, like it's too much. I try to do some variety. I try to have some hope over here. I try to have just a variety. But this one really upset me, and I do think it's important to talk about. I mean, they're so young. When you think of domestic violence, or when I think of domestic violence, I thought of like sleeping with the enemy. I'm aging myself, but I think of like grown ass women, and maybe with kids. I do not think of this prom. Even if this kid was raised in the most loving, healthy, non-toxic masculinity household, but the arm of patriarchy, the indoctrination of patriarchy is still there all the time. The entitlement of, and then if they have any mental health issue or whatever, and then they have access to videos, even if this guy was not at all influenced by online social conditioning. What's so special about this guy? Nothing. That's the thing. He is.
My boys are everything. Yeah, your demon boys. You'd be like, oh, I have great boys. My boys are good. My boys are human. And no, they are not. And this is the evidence of it. And I am going to ask you right now, if all of them, if a boy like this, look at him, gorgeous guy. He's got women lined up to the wazoo. He's got a great, gorgeous girlfriend, which means that he can nab any woman he wants. The older women are gonna want him. The younger girls are gonna want him. If he can do this, if he looks this good, if he looks this delicious, and he is still like that, how can you be sure that your husband isn't like this? How can you show that your son isn't like this? If you keep seeing instance after instance after instance after instance after instance after instance of men having played the good part for years, and they're suddenly showing their real faces. How can you be sure that the face your loved one has is the real face of him? How? How dare you tell us? How dare you gaslight that is not all men? When you don't know which one of them is wearing a mask. When they're all playing 3.1 billion downloads of games. How dare you tell us it's not all men? Only evidence that there is that it is all men. Because you keep thinking, you've been brainwashed to think that if it is in fact all men, everybody should be dead. When that just simply is not how it works. It doesn't work like that on any level, in any instance of anything, of any predation, of any evil, of any whatever. It doesn't work like anywhere. If sin was actually, we would all be turned evil. That's what you're saying. How can you be sure that your good one is a good one when he has the same thing, when he has the same concept as this one, as every one of them who's done this? How can you be sure that your son is good? How can you be sure that your 9-year-old is good? How can you be sure that your 6-year-old is going to be a good one? No. You are literally, every time you say it's not all men, you are basically saying that she deserves to die. What you're saying. I don't know how you cannot see it that way. I don't know how you can't see it that way. Because what that inevitably does is block us from being able to protect ourselves the way we need to protect ourselves in order to prevent us from dying. Which means we are going to die without the protection that we need to protect ourselves. We are going to die. So what you're saying is that it is better us women die. That is what you are saying. Every time you say not all men, every time you say not all men, that is what they're saying. But then it makes sense when they say, because they don't think we should exist anyway. We disgust them. Do you understand that at all? They wish we were dead, if not for the fact that they want sex from us, if not for the fact that they need us to cook and clean for them and carry them through the life of humanity where they find themselves, which they are very, very poorly made for. If not for all of that, they would have massacred us long ago, and we would no longer even exist. But they've done that. In every damn war, they have massacred women. What am I getting wrong here? Tell me what I'm getting wrong that is confusing you. In every single war, women have been their casualties. They're fighting wars against other men, not women, but somehow they are still casualizing women. Casualtying women. Oh, I'm making up words now. I'm making up words as I go. Every single war that they fought, women have been cannon fodder. What part of the evidence I'm presenting to you do you find too egregious to be true? What part of it?
Maybe it won't, because this country, sorry, I'm not there, but the United States and all over the world, maybe get away with this. Maybe they'll do the whole promising future crap. There's just all these photos of vacation with her. And, her Instagram is still up, and just seeing like this. So by the way, if you're new here, I'm a DV survivor. I'm so glad I didn't date till like my 30s. Honestly, I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying, oh my God, I think if I'd been dating in my 20s and like whatever mid 30s before I was like ready, I would have absolutely been dead by now, because I would have been attracted to some of the most toxic people. But then at the same time, women end up with guys like who will unalive them, who come from healthy families. I know a lot of women who had amazing dads and ended up with men like this.
Again, it's not whether you have an amazing dad or not. They are made this way already. Let me repeat that. They are made this way already. You bringing them up to be respectful of women, you are simply trying to help them not be their true selves. That is what is actually happening. That is the brainwash. That is actually their brainwash. When you try to make them more like you, that is their brainwash. The liberal arts studies that they get from society, that they get from school, excuse me, from the the teaching them consent, that is their brainwash. That is brainwash for their species. Teaching them consent is brainwash. Teaching them that you're supposed to be partner with your wives is brainwash for them.
Look at these photos from her. Like, apparently they went to Italy, February. Like, this girl is a teenager and she died because this guy got broken up with. Like, even if, sorry, I'm so upset by the story. I've been following all weekend and I had to stop looking for more information.
Yeah, actually, we are in that. We definitely agree, because I am so upset. Like, I want to go on a rampage. I want to go on a rampage. That's how upset I am. Because I want to go on a rampage, because I know what caused this, and I know what the solution is, but she doesn't.
Because I kind of don't want to know. I have to really limit how many stories like this I tell. Not just for my mental health. Do I need to limit these stories? How many I cover? But also for y'all, right? I don't want this page to be like, oh my God, like it's too much. I try to do some variety. I try to have some hope over here. I try to have just a variety. But this one really upset me, and I do think it's important to talk about. I mean, they're so young. When you think of domestic violence, or when I think of domestic violence, I thought of like sleeping with the enemy. I'm aging myself, but I think of like grown ass women, and maybe with kids. I do not think of this prom. Even if this kid was raised in the most loving, healthy, non-toxic masculinity household, but the arm of patriarchy, the indoctrination of patriarchy is still there all the time. The entitlement of, and then if they have any mental health issue or whatever, and then they have access to pew-pews, even if this guy was not at all influenced by online.
Indoctrination of, she's already given herself the answer, but she doesn't even realize that she did. The indoctrination of patriarchy is there all the time. How can indoctrination be there all the time in every single instance of this, unless it was already inherent to them? Why is there not every single one of those instances, from all the instances of men killing women across of history? How come there was never any point in time there was no patriarchal indoctrination? How come they cannot free themselves from it? Because it's already in them, each and every one of them, carried on, not because they have a Y chromosome, right? But because of the genes designed by the species that owns the Y chromosome. Because you are a self-evolving organism, which means you evolve for how you evolve for how you want to carry out your biology. Your genes design your biology for you. It is self-evolving, right? Which means that their genes evolved to be this kind of organism, to enact this kind of predatory behavior on other organisms. That is why this is happening. This is tied to the genes, and the genes are on the Y chromosome. That is why, and the genes, and because again, biology is intentional, which means if you are supposed to prey on somebody, you are going to be endowed with the abilities to do so, with the instincts to do so, with the desire to do so, with all the ley lines that is going to control that behavior. That is how biology works. And when you do not have something, when you are not designed to do something, you also lack all the ley lines to enact that behavior. This is why these males are failing as humans. This is why they frequently need you to cook for them, because the cooking, the behavior of cooking is a thing that humans would do, which is why we have opposable thumbs. Okay, their species in their original state would not need to be doing any cooking. Therefore, they have no interest in doing it. They have no interest in doing it. They don't even clock in their mind the steps it takes to even feed a human child, because again, in their normal state, in their normal original self, original thing, right? Original species, they would not need to feed a progeny, because theirs is a pump and dump progenizing type of method, right? Which means you have the child and they go their separate ways. But so they have no ley lines in them, instincts in them to want to take care of a child. And therefore, because they lack those things, caring for a child becomes a burden they can barely handle. It's the same thing with socializing. It becomes a burden they can barely handle because they do not socialize. Their organism does not socialize. So that is why they do not like to socialize. That is why they do not have friends. But the reason they have you is simply because you are prey to them. If you are nothing to them, you would have been dead long ago. You would have been dead not long ago. They have zero affinity to anyone because their species does not do that.
Online. Even if he wasn't online, the boys at school are online, listening to this crap, listening to Scott Galloway. They're not listening to Scott Galloway, but the parents are. Oh, people who watch the news, like the Andrew Tate, that's for, and like Nick Fuentes and all these other guys, that's for the younger guys and the teenagers and all this. But Scott Galloway, he's for the adults, and he's the one who's going to be peddling this crap. The boys are just and explaining it away and never ever talking about patriarchy, social conditioning. Like, these are teenagers who were at prom. You know, she hasn't even had her driver's license that long. She just graduated. Why? Why is she even in a situation where a teenage boy hates her this much, has access to arms, and does this in his own home with his parents there? Like, the fact he did this at home. I think his dad was in the backyard. His dad's the one that found them and called 911. So, you know, I'm not the only one who's been looking online. But one of the things I also saw, you know, other news, like, I always want to know, like, what's so special about this guy? Nothing. That's the thing. He is the average white American boy. Sorry, U.S. American boy. Access to pew-pew, raised in a very, very...
What are you talking about? Melanie, my darling, what are you talking about? I love you, but girl, you gotta get off of this. This is not an average. Well, he kind of is average American, but he's far from average. This boy is actually handsome. This boy is handsome. He seems like he has charisma. You know, it seems also like he's effervescent. That is above average. That is above average for males. That is above average for males. Maybe not us females, but for males, yes. This is way above average.
very violent, misogynistic, patriarchal, white supremacist, child-hating country that will not get rid of these for even little school children. We know that it doesn't know.
You know what? I have to say something about that. Okay, so I realize why she's calling it average, because they have sold it to you as that is average. They have sold it to us as though that is just your average thing. But in researching males, I've realized that they're not. Most of them are exactly what every other race is. Most of them are below average. Most are below average. Okay?
No amount of school pew-pewing will ever convince the Republican and NRA. God, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but this makes me so angry. Toxic masculinity is deadly. This kid not only took her life, he tried to take his own. So I promise you, like, they're not against men. Some women don't F with them at all, want nothing to do with them. I respect that. I have a lot of men in my life. I'm a tomboy. I've worked with men. I've been around them so much. I've been around some of the most awful of them. And I've also been around some of the best I've ever met, who are actually healthier and more emotionally intelligent and more community-minded and more caring and nurturing than a lot of women I know. I am mad as fuck at patriarch and men.
Yeah. Until that is, they kill you. I mean, until that is, they rape you. Until that is, you find them on a website that is selling child porn. Until you find them trafficking people. Look at Donald Trump. The image that he sold to us, that even I bought into at some point before he ever became a president, before he ever opened his mouth to talk as a presidential candidate, was that he was a successful, effervescent, business knowledgeable guy. Nothing about, oh yeah, I've slept with children. I could never. At the time that I knew him and adored Donald Trump for a very brief period of my life, I was naive and I adored him very briefly, of course. Yeah. And I thought, such a great businessman. I could never in my life at that age envision that he could be what I see in front of me today. Giselle Pellicotte, that woman from France who was raped by her, by 70 men and plus. husband played the good guy. I mean, what is it that you guys are not getting here? Her husband played the good guy, even while she was suffering she was suffering symptoms from the very things that he was doing to her. He was playing the good guy, the great husband. And she was bragging to women how, yeah, I have a great marriage. Marriage is a great thing. Two people find each other, marriage can be a great thing. And, my husband is my best friend. She was playing all of the cards like they all do, because that is what they all do. All the healthy men, community people that she's talking about, that is their persona, that is their human face. That is their human face. In the last 2 years, 2 years or so, there have been about 7 websites. There have been 7 websites. 7 how should I say, deviant websites that have been discovered of males that males are sharing pictures and their depravity on. Every single one of them in the multiples of hundreds of thousands. Just 7 out of 4 billion males. What makes you, okay, now think about that. What does that tell you? If that doesn't tell you that there are millions more out there, I'm still not thinking. Your brainwash is still controlling your mind. Your brainwash still has you in a chokehold. There are 4.1 billion males on the planet, and each and every one of them has said they want sex. They want sex 5 times a day. They want sex every day for their entire life. Why would you think that depravity is different? It's on a different scale. You guys, ladies, I need you. I'm begging you, wake up. I need you to wake up. Every single one of them has said they need sex, they need it 5 times a day, and they need it every day for the rest of their life. And they want you to open your body to them 5 times a day, every day, until your life, that you must never leave and you must never say no. What part of all of them am I not being clear on? Now, the thing is that every time I go researching things like this, or every time I come across it, I always try to determine from their perspective how they're saying things, and from the female perspective how they're saying things, and from the objective perspective how they're saying things, etc. And they all match and they all say the same thing. Oh no, I haven't met a single male who says, who on a site where they're talking about, consent and etc. And the male makes an offhand comment about, oh no, she doesn't need consent, etc. Somebody who comes in and says, no, don't do that. Even though you hear them on social media talking about how, you have to respect women, etc. Right? In the actual comments, away from your prying eyes, you don't see one of them that says, you have to respect women. They all comment as though it's just a Tuesday. Like it's just a Tuesday. Do you know when I say things like, oh, it's all men, women are going crazy in the comments, like crazy in the comments. And when they say things like women are evil, they don't go crazy in the comments. They just take it like it's another day. When you hear, when you're under a video where a man burned a woman, no, they don't go crazy in the comments. It's just like a Tuesday to them. Not because it's happening a lot, because they think that is how it should be. These men are not confused, but they have authored a very, very confusing reality that we need to unravel.
No, but they are trying to keep men safe too, from themselves, from other men. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's because his fitness buff dad said family time equals gym time, and the lynch to me is already like, you met gym bros? I have. Not a fun group of guys to be around. Keep it up, kid, because I treasure every moment. Building muscles with you. Build their heart. Build their sensibility. Like the patriarchy smashes that out of them. In my experience, little boys are a lot of times more sensitive than little girls. And then that big, heavy fist of patriarchy comes in when they're 4, 5, 6, and then that's it. It's beaten out of them. And unless they work to get back their humanity, they become this. Even though this is an extreme.
Wrong. They do not have any humanity. Let me repeat that. They do not have any humanity. They have copied it from you. They have duplicated it from you. They have watched you and then copied our behaviors, but they do not have their own. The human that you see is entirely superficial. The part of them behaving human, that is the part that they have copied based on their ability to deceive, which is a gift from their genes based on their predatory nature. That means it is exactly how when a lion goes hunting for a predator, for a prey, it has to crouch behind a tree, behind the bushes, so as to deceive its prey. That is the exact same thing. And it has many such behaviors. It's not just the crouching behavior, right? It has the walking silently, right? Even though they are already silent, they take extra care to be silent. Again, deception. Deception. It's the same way when you want to go and catch a chicken. You have a chicken coop and you want to go catch a chicken, and you have to kind of walk slowly. Yes, that is because we inherently also have predatory behavior, but never, ever against our own. That is the difference here, which means for men to behave this way, they cannot be our own. There is zero chance that they are. Zero.
All these king baby who order their wives around, who are just so dead inside, is because their humanity has been beaten out of them, and they don't.
Again, not beaten out of them, but definitely dead inside. And again, they are dead inside because the original species that they are from, it is not a live species. It is not an actual organism. It is not a living thing. Viruses are not living things, right? They are literally not alive. This is why they are dead inside. This is why males are dead inside. Viruses are not actually alive. They are just molecules who have gone radical. This is why males are dead inside.
Question it. And they definitely don't want to give up all the stuff. They get with it. Money, power, control. Same thing with whiteness. Whiteness is killing white people. But the ego wants the money, control, and power. It ain't worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Get it out. That thinking is killing.
Whiteness is killing white people. Again, because it is a thing from males. It is a thing from males. It is a creation from males. And it kills because males are destructive, because they are not alive. They don't care. They don't have the wirings to care about life. They don't have the wiring to care about life. And the one that they actually care about is just on a very superficial level, enough to pass the test of seeming human. They don't care about life. That is what is causing all the death and destruction and starvation and all those things. All the things that they're causing are the things that are not good to have a human life, that will cause death and disease. And they're not doing all of it. They're not going straight to killing you. They're causing all these other issues, which is exactly my point, which fits straight into my point, that there's going to be a gamut of behaviors, a long list of behaviors, of which killing you would be the very ultimate, and therefore would be the least used tool, which means it will be the least data, the least effective data to use to even measure male nature. Because it will be the least utilized tool. Literally everything else will be better. Will be a better measure of how demonic males are than how much they kill.
Us this dehumanization of the hierarchy. He recently enlisted in the Marine. Great, go unalive a bunch of people overseas to benefit rich white U.S. American dudes. But yeah, so I think that people was photoshopped out of that one photo because Dad not only took the boys to the gym.
If not for males, there will be no such thing as whiteness. There will be no such thing as blackness or Asianness. There will be no such thing, because women will simply be women.
Teach them how to be real men, powerful, strong, but not brave, cowards, insecure, toxically masculine cowards who have to take someone's life because they can't handle rejection, and then take some shooting for his birthday. So I'm sorry, but Dad seems to have been pretty freaking toxic. I still feel bad for him. He just lost his son to, this horrific thing. Don't know what it's like to have a child who's done such an awful, tragic thing to someone else. Like this poor family of this girl, all her friends. One of the things that broke my heart is on her page. It is all these photos with all these girls. She's in the ballet. All her photos. She seemed to be just like so many girls, really integrated into groups of girlfriends. Doing stuff together, supporting each other. She had a whole. I feel awful for that, for her family and her community. All those girls who cared about. I'm getting chills right now. Sorry, I don't usually cry when I'm telling stories. This one is. I don't know. I could barely handle DV as a 36-year-old woman. What did I do to my own? This is ADHD. I find like random bruises. I'm like bleeding on my. I don't know how this happened. Anyway, I literally don't remember scratching myself. Anyway, sorry. Look at her Instagram. In this moment now, capture it, remember it. Well, that's it. Story's over. This is her obituary. She was at SUNY, freshman. She was studying early childhood elementary education, minor in dance. Her dance photos were incredible, y'all. She had a brother.
This breaks my heart so much. This breaks my heart so much.
I'm not posting his photo, her family's photo. They had people show up at the funeral wearing pink, her favorite color. Like, oh God. Anyway, they asked that donations be made in her name to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. So just in case anyone is unclear, I'm really glad they did it. Just in case the media or anyone else tries to spin this as this poor boy who just couldn't handle rejection, who had mental health issues. Be very clear, this was deep.
No, he did not have mental health issues. Unless, of course, being male is a mental health, then yeah, it's a mental health problem itself. Yes, I agree. It is. Because why? They're not human. Therefore, they're gonna be crazy. Do you understand that? Again, let me repeat to you, every part of the human condition was generated by your genes, designed by your genes to behave this way. So therefore, if you are intermixing your genes with poor genes, right, it's going to cause issues on every level. Okay? Every single level. On the genetic level, on the social level, on the mental level, physically, emotionally, every level. You will have, the wrong guys. You will have, disabilities. You will have everything that you see that can manifest. That's manifested as like a disability, a deformity. You have the equivalent of that going on in every level of what is a human. There is ideological deformity, there is mental deformity, there is mind deformity, there's all kinds of it. This is why they have a micropenis. This is why micropenis is even a thing. They are trying to make something that isn't natural happen, which means sometimes it will fail. Sometimes it will fail. And the actual if you actually take, and you might say, okay, well, micropenises happen like, let's say, 50% of the population, and okay, but when we gather all of the things that are actually happening together, you will see how it is actually a very significant amount of things are happening in the collective. It's far more significant. It's far more significant. Things are going wrong on every level. This is why most males, most of the disabled children are males. This is why they die sooner. This is why they die sooner. Listen to me. I just made a video about the lifespan. Oh no. Oh, did I? No, I wrote an article. Yes, that article is already actually up. I wrote an article about how males affected our lifespan. Okay, I will make a video about that actually. And every time I think about that, right? And they want us to believe that a short lifespan that we have it currently, 100 years, etc., is perfectly fine. And death is supposed to be a part of the human condition, because while you're alive, well, you were first alive, you were first not alive, and then you were alive. Therefore, it makes sense that you just die again, right? When that is what we have been led to believe, because that is all we have seen in our entire life. And I have information that says otherwise. We should not even be, it's not even meant to be like that. It is not meant to be like that. And the reason this came up for me right now is because what they did to us, that is causing us to have this downgraded lifespan, which previously I believe we would have had like hundreds of years, maybe even like live forever, right? Would be that what they did to us, that's causing us to have lower, like a 100-year lifespan, and them even less than that, right? Is that they silenced one of our two X's so that we cannot use it in our biological processes, which is something that is very, very abnormal. It is like have two eyes, but you can't use one. Exactly what that is. That is exactly to the kind of level of craziness that is. Yeah? So that means that we are actually functioning on one X. One X. But here's the thing. They have two sex chromosomes. Two fully functional sex chromosomes. The X and the Y. And they still are suffering more disabilities. They still are suffering, they still die younger, and all kinds of things. More than we do. We have fully functional chromosomes. All their chromosomes are functional. And they are still dying before us. They are still disabling more than we are. They are still aborting in the womb more than we are. How else not to say that's not? How else to say that's because they're in the wrong form? Then, other than that, how else to not say that? How else to say that? That they can have two fully functional sex chromosomes, and they still can manage to surpass us. Imagine what we can do with 2 full ones. Imagine what we can do with 2 full sex chromosomes. That's what they stole from us. This is world level deep stuff. This is world moving deep stuff.
My guess is that there were issues
If you are still confused, God help you. God help you, and God help us women.
in this relationship for a while. They would not have done this if this was just like one argument, boom. She broke up with them. She was starting a new life. She just earned the right to vote. She can't even legally drink alcohol. And she's gone. If you have sons, don't think that this couldn't be them. Don't let the world raise them. Please teach them about how every single social media platform is set out to radicalize them into the far left. Sorry, the far right. Every single one. And I say this because I've seen it. As soon as Anthony joined Twitter several years ago, they immediately made him follow Trump, Elon, and all of these right-wing dudes. As soon as he joined TikTok, immediately they wanted to send him red pills. So he gave me his phone and I had him follow all of my mutuals. So he get into that algorithm because he was like, I know that I don't want to be on this side of TikTok. And I know it's going to send me. And yeah, of course it will. They all do. Please take this seriously. Educate yourself. Educate the men in your life. They are being preyed on by the money-making machine of red pill content who's making a fortune off of turning boys and men into this. Men who take lives like this. And it starts young. Take it seriously, please. It is never too late. It's never too late. And go get Therese Lee's red pill package. Follow her, follow my mutual, and support women who are doing this stuff, please. Usually I do a comment song.